Hello, word nerds! Happy Sunday and welcome to our Quarter 2 book club. Today we are discussing Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir, which is a beautiful book, both aesthetically and thematically.
The pages are black?
What?
The pages are black.
Pages are black. Oh yes.
Are mine? Mine aren't.
What?
No. How come you got black pages and I got not black pages?
Oh, that's weird. Maybe they did it.
If there's anyone else who'd be like, "Oh, you're in different parts of the world," but no, you two are the closest together.
I'm literally like an hour ferry ride from you. What the hell? I feel so ripped off right now.
I'm gonna go. I'll go check when I can.
Sharpie them.
Yeah, exactly. Paint pages. New, quarantine activity to do.
Do it for the crafting
crafting channel.
Me sharpieing my book.
Helen has the video on how to do it, I think.
Yes,
she does. Yeah. I'll have to go watch that again. I remember watching it one time being like, wow, that's intense. Anyway, yes, we are discussing this beautiful space gothic book today that I believe we all really enjoyed. So it's going to be a very enthusiastic chat today. I am dressed to depress, and I am ready to go. So why don't we just go around and kind of give a very brief overall star rating. I will go first because I'm holding the book. So I gave this a 4.5 out of 5, but now I'm honestly reconsidering giving it higher because I thought this was fast-paced and dark and gross and wonderful. And then how about next we have Erin talk about hers. So
if I was to give a completely accurate review, it would just be me screaming for like a half an hour out of just sheer joy. And instead, I will give it 5 out of 5 because I don't want to do that to you guys' eardrums. So,
all right. How about you, Kelly?
I gave like 4.5 to 5 stars. It took me a while to get into it. I always liked it, but it didn't hook me for a while. But once it did, it was just fantastic.
And Megan?
I gave it 4 stars. I really loved the second half. Once we got into the mystery part, I was very into it. I listened to the audiobook, which may have affected it some, but the first half really wasn't. Not that it wasn't my thing. It was just very different from the second half of the book, and I had a much harder time getting into it to the point where if it hadn't been a book club, I worry I would have DNF'd it in the first little bit, which is wild because this book is very much a me type of book. And I really loved the second half, the second half of the 5-star, easy. So I'm excited to talk about it though, because I did really overall enjoy it.
Yeah, I also do agree that I docked some marks because the beginning felt a little unevenly paced, and then once it kind of got going, once we were in space, then it was good to go. But yeah, the beginning was
it's hard
a
to pinpoint anything. I don't know what didn't hook me in the beginning. It was all interesting, and the characters were great. The world building was cool. It needed to go.
Yeah, I talked to Emma a little bit about this a couple days ago after everyone had left our little work hang that we were doing during the day, and it was just me and Emma because we were at similar parts of the book. And she's not here today because she still has a little bit left in the book and is enjoying it and doesn't want to be spoiled on the ending. But for both of us, there was a lot of suspension of disbelief issues at the very beginning, especially in the opening sequence. Gideon is I have planned 600 ways that I'm going to get out of here. I've finally figured out a way that I'm going to get off of this planet and save myself because I'm so miserable. But I'm going to do it in the middle of the day. She arrives in the morning and it's just and then gets there hours in advance. And it's I'm just going to sit here and hope no one finds me and make jokes. And so I had a difficult time suspending my disbelief there. That it was did you really want to leave? Is that how you were?
Maybe deep down she did not really want to leave. But now that I've read the whole book.
Yeah. And that was part of it too, was I felt several times in the first half, I was you're going to make this deal for why? You were just going to leave before, but now for rules, you're going to stay. And once you hit the second half, you kind of get maybe you didn't really want to leave sort of sense. But I did not get that at all at first, which I can't decide if that's a problem or not,
I felt the beginning, like if I had, because I really enjoyed the audiobook, and the audiobook narrator hooked me like immediately. But I was just like, because I literally went out and ordered this book as soon as I finished the audiobook. So I was like, now I have to read, because it's a very different thing, right? Listening to it and reading it. And I'm like, now I have to see how it feels to actually read it. And I was just scanning the first few pages at lunch. And I don't think that it would have pulled me in as immediately, because the part that really hooked me and got me, like, I was vaguely interested because of the narrator. But I feel like the part that really hooked me was when they're in the palace. And when they're meeting all these characters, and when there's all of this like tension between Harrow and Gideon, obviously that is like the best part. So like initially there was none of that. And I don't know if I would have been hooked right away if I had read this version of it. But luckily the narrator was really good. And all of her voices are so different. They also sound so good and so different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this time 3 out of the 4 of us listened to the audiobook.
I feel like that's unusual for us, right?
I feel like we're like leaning more that way over time, though.
Yeah, I've listened all of the book club books for the last like 3, I think, have been audiobook for me.
Well, I'm like an old fogey, and I do not read ebooks. So I don't order them and then instantly get them. So I used to go to, a bookstore when they were once upon a time open. But now to be able to instantly order it on Audible and for it to be able to show up and I can start listening to it right away. So it's just so much more handy. Plus I'm home all the time. So and now listen to it when I'm trying to clean my messy house.
I listened to it while I played Animal Crossing this
Same.
week.
Of course. Color me not surprised.
Yes. I'm taking care of my town.
I have to ask, what do you guys think of the ending? Because again, I screamed, but it was like in a less happy way this time. I'm still mad about it. Just a little.
I don't know if it really like sunk in properly. Like if anyone hasn't fully read the book, this is the time to bail, because
it's lots
by the end of the book, Gideon the Ninth is no more. And like I guess I was like really expecting her to show up in Harrow's head, of like, and then it's like it's just the epilogue has Harrow like saying to the God King guy of like nope, or like in her head that it's just her. So like that's it. She's really not there. Like that's So it was hard for me to like register that it happened, so I probably lost the emotional oomph of it.
Right. And like initially, like I said, this is like the one book that I've been so obsessed with that I'm like looking up fan art and like researching author interviews. And I was initially thinking like, oh, there's going to be a book 2. She's going to show up in book 2 in some way. Like she's like Harrow is a freaking necromancer. Of course, Gideon's going to be back. And then there's like a few questions that Tamsyn answered that is like alludes to the fact that we don't see her again. And I was like, no, you cannot do this to me. I refuse.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to be like a cop-out, or not a cop-out, sorry, like a psych-out of like, it's just me alone in my head, and then like she'll show up later, or Harrow was lying and she's actually there.
Wants to go back and recover Gideon's body and like figure out what happened to everybody else.
Gideon's
the description for
the body or whatever is like very suspicious.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that her bodies,
they're not dead, and then even if you do see the body, 9 times out of 10 they're not dead either. So there's a necromancer.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. Like, there's someone using a power saw outside of my house.
You're good.
I had to like move back and forth. Yeah, okay.
Like, I was telling the plot to a friend because I was like, I'm so mad. She's dead. I'm so mad. And she's like, the friend was like, isn't the other character like a necromancer? And I was like, well, yeah.
Well, yeah. I
was like, obviously she's gonna be back.
But the description for book 2 is very like Harrow goes and deals with these teachers, and like it doesn't even hint. Which
I have a theory about this because I think Tamsyn is a sneaky B word in the best possible way, because I think that she is going to like lead us on and have us read the whole book, and at the very end, Gideon's going to be back, or is going to allude to the fact that she will be back, and then you have to read book 3.
See, I don't know.
You have to.
Okay, a couple things that I've read just from like, because I've already been approved for the arc of Harrow.
Jealous.
Yeah, but then I'll have to read it instead of listen to it. But they're going to change the narrator anyway because it's a different person. I don't know. But 2 things I've read. The first part of book 2 is written in second person.
I heard that and I hate it.
Oh, that's weird.
So like, so what do you make of that? And then
interesting.
Book 3 is called Electo the Ninth. Does anyone know who this is? Did I miss this, or is this going to be someone new?
I don't know an Electo.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm reading everything for clues.
And I would not read.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, true. There's a lot of characters.
I was saying to Megan, we were like chatted very briefly before this chat started, that even now I was like skimming through it and I'm like, who are all these people? And like even when I'm reading it the first time, there was the trio, I think it's the twins and then their protector, and there's the 3 of them, and I could never remember who.
But they keep saying third twin as well, of like
no, they're from the 3rd house. This threw me off. I couldn't figure out what. There's only twin. 2 of them, and the twins are from the 3rd house.
Wait, there's 2 of them, but okay,
there's 2 of them.
Like it was so.
There's 2 of them. Corona and her sister.
Uh-huh.
That one, Dulcinea? Where's Dulcinea?
No, that's not Dulcinea.
Not Dulcinea. Dulcinea is the scary the sickly one. Yeah. And Corona and her twin, and the twin is like the drab one initially, who then like kills their guy.
Who's the guy?
So,
like, see,
the guy
they're Gideon. What are they called?
Their version of Gideon, whatever. What is she again?
Yeah.
I want to say Sentinel. That is not.
There's an adept and the.
Oh God.
This is like a major thing in the book.
Yeah, we all read it.
I read it today.
Oh dear.
Adept.
Cavalier.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, so the dude who's like a little snooty and doesn't like the drab twin is their Cavalier. And she's the one, and the drab twin later kills him. Mm-hmm. And then, because they kept saying the 3rd twin, and I was like, what that would be a triplet. And then I'm like, then I like rewinded it more, and I was like, no, wait, they're from the 3rd house, and they're twins. Okay.
All right, weird.
So I felt like the first half of the book, they get to the like castle Toomey thing or whatever, and they have just a lot of random fight sequences where people are just watching other people fight. And I felt like, the fight scenes were amazingly written. This author is so good at action sequences. But B, I felt like the fight sequences were supposed to be helping me get a better feel for who each character was. But I just kept feeling like I was just watching like a YouTube playlist of just like random characters coming in and fighting, and there was no way I was gonna remember them.
I have a theory about this, and like Tamsyn, if you ever watch this, I love the crap out of you, and I love your book. But I will say, I feel like when I heard later that the author had been involved in fan fiction, I was like, this to me makes sense, because a lot of this, even though I am freaking addicted to it, felt like the fan fiction I used to write too. That was just like a jumble of the scenes that I was like really excited about, and was like, how do I shove them into a narrative and have it be an actual story? So like a lot of that felt like, I really like this character. She's going to have some tension with Gideon. So let's have her be like, fight me. Like the scene where Corona was like, let's fight Gideon. I was like, what, why, where did this come from? But also I love it. So
I liked
that's what
it.
It felt like to me. It was like the author being like, yeah, let's do this, and didn't really have any fit into the plot.
But again, it's like a power struggle of like, let's show how
kind of like
great my house
order
is
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I felt like some of it was along those lines.
Yeah. And I did like a lot of the book was very cinematic, and it felt very much like a TV series in that regard, in which you got to see like, well, let's see what happens when we throw these two people together. But sometimes I felt a little disconnected from it as a reader. I was like, okay, we're fighting again. I don't like it.
It's also really hard to establish all 8 houses plus teacher and the 2 unnamed random teacher sidekicks.
Yeah.
So like in a TV show or movie, I think it would have worked better when you have the visuals and you can like see them and like because then you could see people like getting really into different houses. In this case, it was just like there's so many. And
what did you guys think about the plot twist with teacher and the other monks? Like, did you see that coming, or was it surprising?
I was surprised the whole way.
I never see anything coming. So.
Yeah, I think if I had read the physical book, I would have seen it coming. But since I was listening to it, I didn't see it coming.
When I was
it's very experiences.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, definitely. I didn't see it coming, and when it happened, I was kind of like, okay, I think there was like supposed to be some like foreshadowing, like when teacher goes on about how he hates water. Like initially, I was like, okay, why? And I don't know if maybe that's meant to be. Do they fall apart in water because they're not alive? I don't know. Like, is that supposed to be like a foreshadowing
just
thing?
Like Anakin hating sand, you know? Just one question.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I found this book both very cinematic, and also like so descriptive and really immersive, but then also very odd and like chunky, and like I couldn't quite picture things. So it was very like I had to go back and reread multiple pages to be like, hold on, they're in a hallway. How did they get here? What does it look like? Why is there that? Oh, right, because they're in that hallway, not this hallway. Like it for me, I don't know what it was. It was just like some things were really
as big as the cast.
Yeah, exactly. And some things were really like, wow, I can picture this in perfect detail. Like the underground and all the laboratories were like so I could see everything. And then some of the hallways and like the moldering old mansion, I was a little bit like, where am I right now? What does this look like? We're looking at stars. We're looking at the what? So I don't know. Part of that also, I think, was a little bit like off, which is why I didn't see a lot of things coming because I was like, where are we right now? And why do I care about you?
Like I think the genre mashing gave me some of that feeling of like, in so many books, you kind of have this preformed idea of what things are, and like even just the magic system and like. Okay, so Harrow's making full skeletons from just like knuckle bones, or like that initial fight where like skeletons are coming out of the ground. And like, so I didn't quite know how the magic system works. And then once they get to the mansion-y thing, everyone's talking about how they're like different kinds of necromancers. And like, I wanted more of how it all works in order to picture it better. Of like, so what is everybody doing? How does this happen?
Yeah, this could have been a much bigger book, and I would have been okay with it just because I'm like, all the different necromancy types. I'm like, hello, I want that backstory. Like, that's so dope.
I thought initially this was YA because it's not very long. Like, it looks to me, but I mean, it could have been longer.
And I guess I could get a lot of that in Harrow's book. Of like, Gideon wouldn't know that stuff.
True. But did we ever even get a demonstration of anyone else's, like, necromancy work? I can't remember that right now, or just Harrow, because you think except for the creepy guy, the not ninth house, obviously the 8th house, that was like the uncle
the like soul siphoning thing.
Soul siphon. We got that, but other than them, I don't think we got any.
And Corona's adept, whatever he did to Dulcinea at the end, he like magicked something.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, right.
Septimus.
Who's the one that is he the one that froze Gideon?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. See, I can't keep anyone straight aside from Gideon and Harrow.
Yeah.
And
it would have been nicer if it was longer because you would have had more time to like figure out who people were. And there's so many names.
Yeah.
Also with the why Corona's name stuck out to me.
Yeah. It's like I was listening to the audiobook and Sean was in the next room and he's like, did they say Corona? Yep, that's her name.
Whoops. Good timing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling Rachel in the pre-chat, like there were so many names, and listening to it on audiobook, it was a little bit like I didn't realize Nona Gesimus was Harrow's surname for a really long time.
Well, the way the audiobook narrator says it, it's like it sounds like a insult. I was like, what's calling her?
Like, is this an insult? Is it a swear? All the other swears.
Just like how Gideon talks to Harrow. It all just kind of sounds like an insult.
Exactly.
Okay, what is this the thing that Harrow calls Gideon all the time?
Where is
it?
Name?
Yeah.
/ insult. Brittle. What does that mean? Where does it come from? I can't.
No idea.
I don't understand.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is like you cook pancakes.
Like,
yeah,
I know. The whole time I was like, what does this mean? Like, did I miss a part where they explained why she says that? I don't think I ever did. Like,
I don't remember if she did or not.
No.
Why is she
Other than
her
the griddle thing, I really
man?
liked that this book had so many unusual names that I didn't hate. Like usually when people try to make up names that just sound silly, whereas these, like it was solid world building. They sounded like they all went together, and like this was their pretty named, hard to pronounce culture, and I liked the names.
Yeah, I was impressed with Harrow Hawk. I was like, where did that come from? And I was like, oh, she made it up. That's good.
Yeah.
My names would be so much dumber if I tried to make them up.
Well, I mean, the author has a name that doesn't look real. So.
Right? I know. I was like, how did she get a cool space name as well?
I feel like too, though, you kind of always think that the names that you're writing as an author sound silly when you're writing them. But if someone presents it to you in a book that you're enjoying, you just kind of accept it. You're like, yeah, Harrow, obviously.
Yeah, I had that experience the first time I read a friend and I read Harry Potter out loud to each other on a road trip, and our third friend hadn't heard of like any of it, and she's like, Hogwarts, Dumbledore, Muggle. What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, I think the Harry Potter names do sound silly. It's just you get used to them. Exactly. Whereas like Ianthe and stuff, they were cool names.
Very true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did. The voice was the only other thing that was a bit of a miss for me personally. I know it's like a really big hit for a lot of people, so this is totally just like, oh, it's not quite for me. I think it was done very, very well. But for me personally, sometimes I felt like the voice was at odds with all of the names of the characters and like the way the world was set up. Sometimes like throwing a "that's what she said" joke in like really pulled me out sometimes. But then conversely, I also found it like an interesting comedic effect. Like a lot of times casual language was used for comedic effect, which I found really
especially Gideon being insubordinate.
Gideon, I'm sorry, Gideon she's just like such a lesbian. Like all of her like regular puns throughout the book, I was like, oh yes. That's perfect.
I actually wanted their relationship to be a little more. Like, I kind of went into it being like, I was promised lesbian necromancers in space, and I felt like I didn't really get that until, like, the very, 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 very end, and even then it wasn't really, like, I love you, and I get the whole, like, hate to love, and, like, that was a big part of it, which I did like, but I kind of felt like they didn't really even do friendship, and then suddenly it was like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself for you, and I was like, what? Why?
I think I disagree. Okay. I could tell they loved each other long before they knew they loved each other.
I wish that I had gotten the backstory a little bit before I did, when Gideon talks about what went on between them, etc. Like I kind of wish, because that established it for me. Because initially I was like, okay, and then she tells a story of how she grew up with Harrow. Right. And I kind of had a vague idea that they had probably like known each other when they were young and they grew up like beating each other up essentially. But like when that came into play and we learned that, I was like, okay, things make more sense now. So if we had got like hints of that initially, I would have.
I'm very much hoping that in book 2 we get to see Harrow be mad at Gideon for dying, because I feel like that would be very on brand with their relationship thus far. Just be like, I cannot believe she would basically say she loved me and then just throw herself on some swords. Typical.
Oh, that was such a weird end battle, but it was so good. But it was
good,
so
though.
weird.
Usually I do not like battles that go that long. And like usually I skim over a lot of the description of battles and stuff, but like she did such a good job with them.
It was an hour of nonstop battles in the audiobook.
It was the bone dome, and you're like, what is happening? And
it took a really long time. I don't know about those of you that listen to the audiobook, but when it switched over to Harrow at the last chapter, it took me like a hot minute to figure out A, Gideon is dead, like dead, and B, it's not her narrating anymore. Because there was no like chapter heading where it said Harrow, as far as I remember. So it took, because I think it was like my brain was like, no, this cannot be the ending. She cannot have just thrown herself on spikes and is dead. This doesn't. No, I refuse.
I'm looking right now in my book. It just says epilogue. So
yeah, okay.
It starts off with the sentence, Harrowhawk, I can't even pronounce her last name. Notajimas came around in a nest of sterile white, but that's all. It doesn't say if it's her perspective or anything.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Pumpkin. Sorry, my cat just joined, so if she's knocking on my laptop, that might be why.
Yeah, I'm still mad about the ending.
I think they're so cavalier about death throughout so much of the book that, like, cavalier about I did not do that on purpose. But they are so, like, casual about it that when we hit the epilogue, I was like, oh, well, here's the part where Gideon comes back, obviously.
Right.
Yeah. And then it didn't happen. And I was ouch.
Yeah. My feelings are ouch.
I feel personally victimized by Tamsyn Muir.
Borderline tweeting at her angrily. I did it, but it was close. How dare you?
Kept it in the drafts.
I trusted you.
I don't know why, but a really big scene. It's not even a big scene. It's a very small scene, but it's just like something that I constantly remember back to is when Harrowhawk she just done some kind of battle or moment where she is basically dying, and she's in one of the beds, and she's so tired and like covered in bruises and grossness, and she's like trying to sit up, but she can't, so she just like takes some teeth and slams it into the like the headboard, and two skeleton hands come out and like lift her up, and then her nose starts bleeding. And I'm like, Harrow, no, this is bad. Don't do that. Don't do that. What are you doing? Like, yeah, I don't know why, but like that sticks out to me so much. And even Gideon's like, my dude, you're supposed to be resting.
Harrow is definitely, I feel like, going to be a really fun character to read about.
Yeah, I liked Gideon. Sometimes I felt a little bit like I kept waiting for that moment where Gideon would like step into the role as like the head of the show, and it never quite happened, which was interesting and like subversive or whatever. But I kept finding myself being like, but Harrow's doing all the really cool stuff. I really want to see what Harrow is doing right now.
Well, some of my favorite parts were when they were working together in the underground labs, especially the scene of like the weird creature that comes out in the sealed off room that Harrow, like she like puts her hands on it, and then something happens and she can't see. She keeps running over. She's like, "Get out! You like get in there while I have my hands here." Like,
the part where she's like, "I want to fight it." She's like, "You want to fight it?" Yeah, it looks like some of its arms look like swords. You want to fight it because its arms look like swords. Yup. So good.
Or like I liked Gideon, but I know Gideon, like if she was a real life person, she would have annoyed the crap out of me. I'm like, no, stop.
Yeah, you're too practical for someone like that.
Or like the scene that they're also, it's like the second trial or whatever the heck that is, which is also a weird idea. Like, let's try and kill a bunch of these people constantly, and maybe someone will come out on top. This is like the Divergent thing all over again.
That wasn't what was supposed to happen, though.
No.
When the guy got there, it's like, this is not what, no one was supposed to die, not knowing what, like, that you needed to sacrifice your cavalier and all of that. Like, it was not supposed to go down like this.
Not what I intended.
Yeah. But she's like, I need to borrow your life force, and then she like keeps trying to go through that room that just like burns everything off of her, and then like the end she gets there and she like doesn't have hair or eyebrows, and I'm like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, some of the scenes are really good. I didn't understand the part where I get that she wants to tell Gideon her secret, but I'm like, why do they have to be in water to do this?
Oh, there's just like a family rule.
The family rules, you have to be in the bathtub if you tell anyone your deep, dark secrets. Sorry, why?
They also had a family rule where they all had to hang themselves when someone figured out the secret. So, just don't use
right.
I mean, if you didn't have to follow the family rule of hanging yourself, why'd you have to follow being in water?
All sounds completely reasonable.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Okay, so speaking of how it was all supposed to go down, because I don't think I fully followed Dulcinea's description of how she pulled it off. So what happened? What did we think of the mystery overall? But also, can anyone explain to me what she did?
How this worked. I would also like to know.
Yeah.
We're all just like, it was a lot.
Well, again,
she did the villain monologue explaining her evil plan, and I caught none of it.
We got to the end of it, and I was like, I should probably rewind this and listen to it again, but book club is in 5 hours, and I'm
really hoping that reading it physically will help explain some of it.
I mean, I've read it physically, and even then, I'm still, I'm like, who are these people? How did they all come together? I thought they were 3, and apparently it's from the 3rd house. I don't know what's going on. And how, maybe it's a genre mash thing, but then again, because some of it didn't make sense in a sci-fi scenario, and I'm not a big sci-fi person, so maybe that's maybe I'm missing out on something that is truly sci-fi.
The sci-fi stuff, the fantasy feel, and then all of it is a mystery. So
yeah, which I'm not mad at, which is why I picked it up.
No.
It sounds great. Yeah, but some of it I don't know if it was the writing or if it was just the genre style that I'm not used to, or but yeah, the ending was very I think I understood what happened, but now it's been a little while since I read this, so I'm like,
I understand what fake Dulcinea did. I do not understand what the not Corona twin did.
Well, because I understand that more than what Dulcinea did, I think. The fake twin killed her cavalier and ate him, essentially.
Yeah, but she got all the keys and figured out how to become a super necromancer.
She did it without getting all the keys.
Yeah,
right?
she did it without getting the keys.
How? What'd she do?
I don't know how she figured it out.
Did she put the key in the first one that died, and then they extracted the key from her body later? Was she the one that did that?
Oh, I don't know.
The one who died with Magnus had a key inside her. Someone took the key they got and hid it in her corpse. And maybe this was not Corona? No, not Corona.
Dulcinea.
Yeah, Corona. Yeah. No.
Oh, yeah.
The other twin.
The ugly twin.
Yeah, the other twin.
Corona and her ugly twin.
So many characters.
Corona isn't a twin, right? Is Corona a twin?
Corona is the twin. Oh. Corona's a twin. Dulcinea is the big bad.
Then who's the cavalier that survives at the end?
Oh, no.
Who's the other big one in the fight? Septimus's cavalier.
God.
It's a female cavalier, right? The one that survives in the end? Yeah, I can't remember her name.
Okay, so not Corona. So I think
that hasn't been said.
Palamedes?
I think I'm gonna say
Camilla?
Ianthe. Camilla is the cavalier in Sigam. Ianthe is the
is who now?
Twins.
Oh dear.
She's one of the twins.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know if she's the good twin or the bad twin. But...
Ianthe is the bad twin, and Corona is the good twin.
Okay,
Okay. Well,
so
it's also so strange hearing these out loud too, because I'm like, who's that?
I'm trying to put it all together.
Well, I'm the only person of this chat who read it and hasn't listened to it. So first time I'm hearing these things out loud, I'm like, oh, that's how you say that name, okay?
Yes.
I don't know if I would be able to say, even after listening to it, Harrow Hawk
Nonagenimus.
Nonagesimus.
Okay. Wow. All right.
It's a cool word.
It's so cool. My brain kind of looks at it and goes,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, all right, cool. It keeps going.
It's like the decade of people who could not pronounce Hermione. So
yes, I was about to say that. I just skimmed that in my brain for a long time.
One.
I was worried while reading it. I was like, what if I want to read the physical book of the sequel? I'm not going to know who anyone is, but it's fine because most of them died. So I don't get a new cast.
I'm hoping it makes more sense for me when I read the book, that I can wrap my brain around it more, but we'll see.
Yeah. I was just worried about on a name basis because I know phonetically what a lot of the names are, but I have no clue what that would look like on the page.
Yeah. And even now, I have less confidence that I know who anyone actually was. So.
I started asking questions. I was like, wow, I should just go. I don't think I
Well, you said earlier, like, this would be it's very cinematic, it would be a great TV show. I completely agree. And I think it would be easier to keep track of people that way. I really want to see some of this magic in action because I can only picture it so well. But I feel like a lot of I'm a sucker for bone magic. Anything in that genre I want. So I loved seeing it. Like even at the very beginning when Harrow like takes some knuckle bones and Gideon's like, oh no. And then like there's an army that blasts up through the sand. Oh my gosh, I would love to see that on a screen.
Yes.
The final battle is like bones flying everywhere and Gideon with a sword and like, oh hell yeah.
It would definitely be the best TV show because it would need like long explanations.
Yeah, I would want like a limited series if it was going to be a TV show because I would
go to a movie.
Limited.
Yeah.
All TV shows need to be limited. Like you could not make 8 seasons out of this, I don't think.
No.
Yeah. Gosh, the writing, just all of the action sequences, I was in awe of every time. Like, I want to buy the book so I can see them in, like, see it in word form, so I can try and figure out how she did it.
I know. I'm really reading this again.
Because there's so much going on, it feels very rereadable. I gotta read it again just so I feel really confident about everything that went on.
Yeah, I would love to reread this before reading Harrowhawk the Ninth because if I don't, I'm gonna have a real tough time with book 2.
I'm so jealous you're getting an arc. Did you get it off Edelweiss or
NetGalley?
I have an Edelweiss subscription, so maybe I'll go on and be like, give it to me.
Yeah, you should get on NetGalley too. We get some good stuff through there.
But I'm a physical copy person, but I might make that sacrifice for.
I know.
Oh yeah, because Edelweiss, I don't think you could get a physical one either. They mostly do digital arcs. So
that's why I stopped asking for arcs for the most part. But I sacrifice.
I'm like phases where like I'll read a ton of them all at once, and then suddenly I take like 3 weeks off. And so I'm still trying to get caught up on like all the NetGalley stuff that I got in the last batch because they also approve them in batches. So I end up with like 3 at once. It's like I need to review all of these.
That was my problem with Edelweiss, was like getting approved for 15 at the same time. And I was like, don't have this kind of time.
Well, like all the events that I usually go to where I get advance copies of things are canceled. And I'm like, I need that fix. You even have to buy all of these? What?
Yeah, I was really looking forward to driving down to where Emma lives and stealing all those arcs that she got at the library conference. And no, I can't.
I know, she got a good stack too. My goodness. I know, like Emma, share.
I know.
Yeah.
It's funny because like now that we're talking about it, it's like there's obviously like a fair amount of issues with it, but I didn't really think of any of those while I was reading it. I think it really just goes to show that like if you're a good writer and you're a good narrator, you could tell a good story. It doesn't really matter what else is going on. They'll still be
even sometimes that I was like, where am I? What am I doing right now? Like where are we in the story? I wouldn't care because I'm just like, well, I need to know what happens. Like we're in a hallway somewhere and I'll figure it out later. Like
yeah. You talked to Erin about it feeling a little bit like fan fiction sometimes. And I feel like that is a really good thing.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it so like binge readable because it's like, oh, well, I love these things. I love these vignettes. I love these characters. I need to see what happens next. And there's already so much fan art of it too.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I think,
huge.
Plays off of that feeling as well. Like people love these characters and like want to see more of them and create more of them. And I'm certain there's like fan fiction of this out there because it is that good.
Well, now that I have short red hair, I'm like, I've a Halloween costume perhaps. I don't know.
Yes.
Like, let's see. She's wearing, okay, I need to get the gauntlet and a sword. and some aviators, but I feel like I have the rest of the outfit because it's just black.
There are some really good cosplays already out there if you look on Instagram.
I did see a couple. Actually, I saw a couple on Pinterest when you finished it and you were like, you have to go see the fan art. It's so amazing. So I like Googled some fan art and saw a lot of people cosplaying. Like, ooh, looking good.
Fan art was actually Gideon and Dulcinea, where Dulcinea is like, do this, do that. And Gideon's like sweating. It's so good. I know that I'm going to read it, and then because it wasn't supposed to come until May the 5th, and I knew that I was going to read it, and then I was going to want to like go back to writing what I was writing before I started doing my revisions that I'm supposed to do. So now I'm going to read it and not do what I'm supposed to do. So that's cool.
Great. You know, I think Gideon would approve of that.
Yes.
We want to write lesbian fighty. Not necromancers. I don't have that, but other fighting lesbians.
Fighting lesbians. Wonderful. All right. Well, we've been going for 40 minutes, which is pretty good for one of our book clubs. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. Is there anything that we want to kind of talk about before we start to wrap up for the evening?
Definitely read it, even if you haven't read it. Yeah, and we just spoiled a lot of stuff. There's like a lot going on, so we didn't even spoil it.
Do people come to book clubs that they haven't read the book for?
I don't know.
Every now and then we get
curious.
Yeah. Shout out to the people who are here and who did read it. That is amazing. We are so glad to have you with us. This is off topic, but I put this in the description as well. But I wanted to shout out Tamara Woods has been doing write-ins all day. And so I put information about that down in the description. If you're like, hey, this ended a little early because book clubs do, and now I'd like to write things, you can do that. Someone is running write-ins.
I'd read the book. Yes, read the book. It's so good.
Yes.
Do it.
And next month we will be watching Howl's Moving Castle instead of book club. We are doing movie night.
I can't wait, which is very different than this one. Very different vibe than Gideon the Ninth, but well worth it.
Yes. Is next week our talking, writing, craft, while crafting chat?
I think
I want to say yes.
Yeah, I think we planned it after book club.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I think so.
Yeah, so next week we are going to be talking about writing craft while doing other crafty things. So bring something that's not writing that you would like to craft or just do. And we will be doing the same. And then we'll also be just doing like a general writing chat. If there's any topics you want us to talk about, we can. Otherwise, we'll just chat about how writing is going. And yeah, it's going to be really fun.
Think we know Erin's going to be spray painting some pages.
Yeah.
Sharpieing.
With Sharpies, you know.
Sharpieing some pages, yep. Yeah. If you knit, if you paint, we'll just have a crafty night. It'll be fun.
Yeah. And we'll talk about writing craft.
And talk about writing craft at the same time. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in tonight. It was a very fun book club. Great book. Can't wait for the sequel, as we have all well established. We're going to have our regular videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and we hopefully will see you all next Sunday for our writing craft while crafting. Have a good week, everybody. Bye.